Wow, Zoom said this meeting's being recorded. Hey, welcome to PCOS Conversations with Julie and Laura. And I don't know, this may be a new Zoom feature, but now it likes to announce that it's being recorded. You may not have heard it, so we'll find out after we listen to the playback. Welcome to where we like to talk about PCOS and things that are interesting to us that are non-diet. And I am Julie Duffy Dillon, a registered dietitian that helps people with PCOS reject diet culture, really say fuck off to them. And and I'm joined by Laura Burns. Laura, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes.
And your kick-ass new haircut.
I know, look at my cute hair. What's my name is Laura Burns.
Yeah, it is.
I had like 3 sips of coffee this morning. Okay. Hi, I'm a body liberation yoga teacher. I teach yoga classes. I run retreats and workshops and trainings, and I co-facilitate the PCOS community with one Julie Duffy Dillon.
Oh, it's so nice to be here with you. And if you're new to the show, what we do first is something called a card pull. And we have a PCOS Body Liberation card deck. And these have prompts on them, like different, I don't know, sayings. What would you say? I don't know.
Statements or questions.
Yeah, that we hope will lead you to explore more ways to experience self-care, connect with non-diet tools, and we're going to pull one and discuss it. All right.
What's it going to be?
We are not free until everyone is free. I'm going to put it right over my face because that just looks like something an artist would do. So we are not free until everyone is free.
Mm-hmm.
I have to admit, I didn't connect with something like this for a really long time.
But you're there now.
Well, I mean, I'm coming along, right? But I mean, that's part of my white privilege. It's like, I just don't get all that, you know?
So what does that mean to you now?
What it needs to be now is, well, I used to, especially when I was working in the eating disorder space, say everyone can recover from eating disorder. Everyone can be recovered. And then as I worked with people with different lived experience, I appreciated that that journey is different based on the type of body you're living in. Yes. And as I started to combine eating disorder recovery and PCOS, that really shone a light on that. Mm-hmm. Not even, I mean, it's like chronic illness, the anti-fat bias within PCOS care, and then someone living in different bodies that the world considers just not acceptable. I mean, yeah, no. I mean, and so there, for some people, rejecting diets is going to be hard, but not as hard. And so I always think about now is like, how can we rally together so people who are going to have a harder journey can have some support so we can all do this together.
Yeah.
That's where I am now.
Yeah. And whoever's watching this may be at various places within that journey as well. And so some of you may be like, yes, absolutely. And some of you are like, I don't know if I get what you're talking about. And that's fine. Keep doing the work. Keep, listening to things like this. For me, when I see that, we are not free until everyone is free, I think about, obviously not just like PCOS and chronic illness community, it's, every community. But to speak just about this, I think about all the people, the many people in marginalized bodies that I've talked to who have confessed, it's a confession, how long it's been since they tried to access healthcare.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think about that. I think about the people who say, oh, here's how you manage your PCOS. You just do these things. Get an endocrinologist, get a health at every size gynecologist, an endocrinologist, and primary care, and whatever. And I'm just like, okay. I actually had this conversation with somebody recently who is white and in a, like, I guess they call it mid-size now, like in-betweeny is what they used to call it, sized body. and she hadn't been accessing healthcare, and I was like, go. They're not going to be shitty to you. Like, they might be a little shitty to you, but like, you should go, because like they'll talk to you like a human being. Like, go, like, you know, use that privilege that you have because you can access healthcare. And she was like, oh, would it be different for you? And I was like, yes. Yeah, absolutely. It's different for me. And it's different for anyone who lives in a body that is othered. And it was interesting. I just forget that people don't realize that. So yeah, like use, I mean, I don't know how this sounds, but like use the privilege that you have. Access whatever you can access, and also recognize that for some of us, it's really challenging and traumatic and exhausting to try to access those same things. So, so that's one thing that I think about when I hear that statement, but also just like, what does it really mean to say that I'm not free until you are free, till everyone is free? And how does that show up in our interactions with people? And not just in like the big things like accessing healthcare or, you know, like who gets the platform to talk about these things and stuff like that. But like in the little everyday, the little connections or circumstances or situations that you find yourself in, like how can you advocate if you come from a place of privilege? Like how can you, and I have privilege in some way, like, you know, like everyone has privilege in some ways. So how can we advocate for the needs of those who have less privilege than ourselves? Because we are not free until they are free. And so here's some things that I always think about is like, if you are accessing healthcare, then making a point to speak to the people in whatever doctor's office that you're going to about things that they're doing well in terms of accessibility and things that maybe could use improving. Because it's always going to be more like well received if it comes from a person who has that privilege. They're going to listen to you more, which is shitty, but they're going to listen to you more. And also it takes the burden off of the person who is marginalized to have to like get the courage up to be a self-advocate and to say those things. Anytime that you can take that burden off of somebody else, I think that's like a good takeaway for this is like, anytime you can take the burden off of someone else who, for whom it would be harder and more exhausting to do so, or potentially unsafe, then do it. Whether you're in a restaurant and you're like, hey, these chairs are really inaccessible to anyone in a larger body, and just like saying that to people at the restaurant so that they hear it ever, or if it's at the doctor's office or whatever, wherever you happen to be.
Yes. You know, I live in a small town. And so when I was working with clients one-on-one, many people I worked with would see similar providers, go to similar places. It's a small town. And there was someone I worked with, like you just described, who was finding it, I'm trying to say this in the most, I don't want to disclose any details that I don't want to disclose, but I think it shows how I can like cause this really wonderful ripple effect. But someone basically was going to a healthcare provider and recognized that the seating and some of the ways of accessing the healthcare were hard for this person. And this person was someone who had some privilege, you know, and was able then to go and talk to someone. And I found out later from a different client who was disabled and had a really hard time accessing healthcare all around, let me know that they noticed this change. And, you know, I had heard about it coming, you know, and then the place actually did change because of this person's comment. And then, you know, other people benefited from it. So that was really cool to see, you know, from different angles, you know.
And most people don't see the end result of that. Most people who could say, hey, this is inaccessible or whatever, are never going to see the person who comes in and goes, oh, I get to sit down. I don't have to feel like, they're never going to see that. So like, you plant these seeds and you never probably see the blooms. But no, the blooms are happening. They happen.
And I have a feeling that this person, by speaking up, it helped so many people. Like that just, it blew me away. But yeah, people were really, really, really happy when that happened. So yeah. Thank you. You gave some great like takeaways. So Yeah, it's such a big thing to just
Yeah.
sift through. And so, yeah, thank you for the takeaways. And I know we need to move on, but anything else we need to?
No, it's okay. Let's
Okay, I'm trying to keep time. So we do have a question to answer. Someone posted a question for us that said, "What is the point of the PCOS Body Liberation community?
just
What is it?" And I was like, "That's a really good question," because we usually talk at the end about, "Hey, we have this PCOS Body Liberation community. Come join us," but we
for what
really, I mean, maybe at one point we talked more about it, but
yeah. So let's talk. What is the point? And I made a joke and I said there's no point, which is a lie. It's a lie.
I didn't hear your joke, so that's okay.
Um, what I will say the point is, as a person with PCOS who benefits from this community, like Julie and I may like have created it and facilitated it, but like I 100% benefit from this community. It is made for me, basically.
Well, many people want the same thing. I mean,
It's made
that's
for me
yeah.
and people like me. People with PCOS who want to find support and connection and resources, and a community of other people with PCOS, but what they don't want is diet culture and body shaming and symptom shaming and like a negative perspective on it all.
Mhm,
Because
mhm.
after I got diagnosed and I was floundering, and even after I found Julie's course and like was feeling better, I wanted connection and support. I wanted support because people so often don't talk about having PCOS, and so it feels like kind of shameful. So I like looked online and everything was super diet culture-y and like, oh, have you tried this diet or this diet or this diet, or oh, you just need to lose weight, try this or whatever. Or it was like really negative, like so my big thing is like dark patches. I have one right now right here. And so like if I had gone like, oh, I want to get support about my dark patches, it would have been like, oh, everyone's just like, they're disgusting. I
Hmm.
tried, have you tried scrubbing it with lemon juice and bleach mixture? Like crazy, like wacky things that people try to do, and just like really like having a negative relationship with their bodies. Like, I don't want to be there anymore. I'm done
Mhm.
feeling that way about my body. Even stuff that I don't like, that I don't think is cute, that I don't want people to see, but they see it. I don't want to have that relationship anymore. And so that didn't exist, basically, is the short version of that
Mhm.
long thing
Mhm.
that I was saying. But it didn't exist. I couldn't find it. And so that's what the community is.
Yeah.
So it's a group of people coming together to create community in a non-diet culture, non-weight loss, weight neutral environment, um, and not bringing that like body negativity
Mhm.
um, to the table. And
Right.
so it's just about learning together, asking for advice if you want it, asking, oh, what worked for you? Oh, maybe I'll try that. Learning from Julie with her food piece lessons, doing yoga with me, connecting in ways that feel positive and affirming.
Yeah, yeah. The thing that people would tell me before we created this community is they were able to find spaces online with other people with PCOS, but they just had to like basically tolerate the diet talk and the just the push to lose weight and all the harm that comes with that, because they just were wanting to seek out
Yeah.
connection and insight into managing things if they wanted to manage them or discuss that with them. But they were also putting themselves in harm's way at the same time. So many people then just disengaged, you know,
Exactly. That's
and
what I was just gonna say is like
yeah,
for people like me, it's not safe for me to be in
right.
like that. So what I have to do is just not be in
Yeah.
that community because I can't be in that kind of
No,
I can't.
that's like, it could be deadly. So, yeah, that's why we created it. Like, well, let's just make a space then with the intention of it to be a non diet space where someone can connect with other people with PCOS, and yeah, connect and have friendships and support and again space. So, one of my favorite parts of the community right now is these monthly chats that we have. Like we already have a monthly like mug chat,
Oh, yeah.
but we also have topics once a month that we dive deep into. Like this past month in May, we had one on mood disorders, we've had some on body image, diabetes, lots of different types of topics, and so those are really fun and engaging, and again, support without the diet shit. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Like a safer space.
yeah.
Oh, this is one thing that people always mention is being able to start from a place of understanding. Because like, I know what it's like to have like people outside of this community, like, oh, you have PCOS, like, what is that? And then like, instead of doing research for themselves, it's like just ask you a bunch of questions that are exhausting to have to answer and like personal. And the great thing about the community is you don't start at 0, right? You start at like 50 because people already understand like basically like your starting point. And it just feels so much easier than to connect with them because you don't have to explain yourself. And that's a huge one for me. So I wanted to mention that.
Yeah. Instead of spending all that time with like front loading with explaining, you can dive deep into the cool shit. So, love it. So hopefully that answers your question about what is it, like, what is the point? There's lots of points. So I know next is the topic, and something that Laura and I were talking about before we pushed record is that we only have like maybe 10 topics left and we want more. So if you, as we shake the box, if you have any topics that you would like to hear us talk about when it comes to PCOS, put it in the comments or shoot us an email. Let us know. We want to bring it what you need. We're going to add more topics, but we want to provide what you want to hear. So,
you ready?
Yes.
All right. What's it gonna be? Ooh, it's an old one.
Ooh.
The newer ones that we added are on the blue Post-its. Ooh, this is a good one. It says cravings.
Oh. Has there been any bad ones? You said it was a good one. So
I think every time I say, oh, that's a good one.
But they're all good. We chose them. But cravings.
Yeah, cravings. Yikes.
So many layers to this one.
I think what I want to say first about cravings is that cravings have been a thing my whole life that were demonized and were embarrassing, and that became only more true once I was diagnosed with PCOS, because the rhetoric around cravings, which for me is, and for a lot of people, is like carb cravings, or like sugar cravings for some people, and it was really harmful for me when I was trying to access that other kind of community, right? Other PCOS communities, I felt like, oh, I can't say that I have this because I see people's reactions to it and it feels negative. So I just want to say that like I have had a really negative relationship with cravings. And it wasn't until like working through your course and then in the continuing education from you that I get that I have been able to change that relationship. And so I guess what I'm saying is what a loaded topic, and like also a loaded topic for other people. So like if you're watching this and you are anywhere on that spectrum of like having cravings and like either feeling shame about it or not feeling shame about it, whatever, just know that you are not alone. It's a thing that comes up in the community a lot. So yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to say that first.
Well, and cravings, of course, like there's so many different types of cravings, and they could be literal with the food, but also emotional cravings, right? So many different types of cravings, because I think this is really important because people with PCOS are told they have to deny all the pleasure.
Yeah. Well, fat people also, not that everyone with PCOS is fat, but a lot of us are.
Yeah. Well, and I think that because many people with PCOS are fat, it informs PCOS care so much. And so there's that, if a person is in a smaller body, they're told, just don't gain weight, So like deny yourself that pleasure or else.
Whether you're a thin body or not, deny yourself pleasure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if you're like in the body they want you to have, you still are denied pleasure.
Yeah. I mean, that's what so many people have reported, that like it's basically fear mongering to make sure that you continue to conform, and a life without pleasure, like that's something that I don't know, as a medical trained person, it's like that's not healthy. I don't use that word healthy very often, but to me, I'm like, that's not healthy to have like no pleasure and no like avenue for pleasure, no permission for it. That is something that's going to deny someone the experiences that are part of being human, and also like variety, different, even just like the food part, taking out the pleasure. That's like no satisfaction then.
Dry ass grilled chicken breast every day for the rest of your life.
Dry chicken breast and broccoli, right? I mean, isn't that the like meal plan basically?
So like cravings, I'm so glad you said it. So like cravings, like not just as like a food craving, but like also like physical cravings, like rest that we often
Yes.
Right? Because we're like, oh no, I have to be productive. I have to do what everyone else is doing, and they don't seem to rest. And so I, shouldn't or don't deserve to rest. Craving for like connection, right? We talked about the community, like that same kind of connection. How do I get that in the way that feels right? Like the kind of connection that I want. Craving for understanding, for people to, because there's so much shame about PCOS. I think a lot of us feel like people don't understand what it is. And then you have to educate them, which is exhausting to me.
Right.
So craving to like be understood, to have your needs understood. Oh my gosh, I could keep going. There's so many things.
Yeah, I think about boundaries too, like just having someone respect the boundary of like, I need rest, I need these things, and it's okay that I need them. And it's important for me to get them. Yeah.
And even just like to back it up, like to crave what am I trying to say? To crave the like skills and knowledge of like how to make those things happen. Like they don't teach you how to set a boundary in school. Wouldn't that be great if they did?
Well, but if they did, then
it would be
people can be controlled, like that's
be some like weird version of boundaries that aren't actually boundaries, that they can still.
Yeah. Well, it would mess up with how the system is right now.
Yeah. Exactly. It would be like boundaries, but actually just how to like follow directions better.
Yeah, be civil and respectful. Yeah, that's what I would imagine. The thing I think about too with PCOS cravings is how they're not really encouraged to be trusted.
No, you can't trust your body.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. You can't trust anything that your body is telling you.
Right. And go ahead. I'm sorry. What did you say?
Like hunger and fullness and like what food you want to eat. Like you can't trust your body at all.
Yeah. Like deny it.
Quotes. This is all air quotes.
Yeah. Assumed air quotes when we're repeating these things. But yeah, like people tell me they're encouraged to ignore them, to trick them, and to never trust them. And the thing, especially like literal like cravings, like carb and sugar cravings, as a dietitian working at PCOS, I find them to be quite insightful. Like there's really important information there. And when a person is having these kind of cravings, physiologically, the cells in the body are starving. Like they need energy. And eating in response to these like literal food cravings is doing what your body needs, and it also may have some insight for you of like, oh, I may need more sleep, or oh, I may need to increase my medication. But like also responding to cravings is okay, and actually it's like a way of taking care of yourself, especially when you have access to
we're taught the opposite.
Yeah.
That like giving in to your cravings is not taking care of yourself. It's being weak and not
Right.
doing what you're supposed to do.
That's, if I could change anything in PCOS world, well, there'd probably be many things, but this is one of them, because I don't think it's being weak. And I think it takes a lot of like connecting with your body in a world that's not telling you to connect with it, to be able to sit and be in your body, to like hear this information or get this information, and then to be able to feed yourself. Like that's a lot of work. And again, I think it's something that is like helping your body to survive. So yeah, so much.
Yeah, that feels heavy to me, just like in a way, because like I'm not there anymore, which is great, but I think about how many people are still there, and
Yeah.
oh my, I'm like tearing up. It just makes me so angry and sad, because I know what it's like to like try to do the right things, but they're all the wrong things for my actual body.
Yeah.
You know, but like I just want to comply, I want to be good, I want to be, you know, valued as a human being, and so I'm going to do these things. And like I remember what it feels like to be like in that cycle, and it sucks so hard.
And feeling like hardcore shit, like your body is hurting, but then also getting like the pats, like good job, but try harder. Because I would assume that like it was never enough.
It's never enough. It's never enough.
Yeah.
At my sickest, I have an eating disorder, and at my sickest, and I was losing weight, and I was exercising constantly, and I hurt physically, I hurt emotionally, I was miserable, my stomach was so jacked up, and I like my sleeps, like everything was terrible, but all I heard was you look amazing, and also keep going. Don't stop. It's never, I'm like, I could be like non-existent and it's still like not enough.
Like literally an organ failure, and it wouldn't be enough. Oh, deep breaths. That is heavy.
Thunder rolled like right when I was like, oh, dramatic thunder.
I wish we would have heard that. That would have been perfect.
That was so good. Well, so that was a lot of things. I don't know if people have thoughts about what we are talking about today. I know it's a lot. I know we hit like physical and emotional and body autonomy and boundaries and all the things. It's a lot of topics. But yeah, like comment and let us know what you're thinking about any of this, or what, you know, what's coming up for you, or experiences that you've had. We'd love to hear it. I think that's the time that we have for today, right?
Yeah. And I also appreciate like what we were just talking about with PCOS cravings. Probably was quite radical in some regard, and we're and so I would love to read your reactions and comments. Like let us know what you're thinking, or questions. Like because I know you and me, we've been talking about this for a long time, so I have a feeling we glossed over some big things and didn't even realize it. So let us know what we need to you know, just sift through a little bit more, and what questions come up, or your reactions.
So type your comments, your questions below. Please like this video if you liked it. It helps us out. Subscribe to our channel if you want to be sure and see all the new videos that we make. You can come follow us on Instagram at PCOS Body Liberation, and the website is PCOSBodyLiberation.com. On the website, you can see like info about me and Julie, in case you're wondering who the heck are these people.
Right.
And you can also read about the community in case you're interested in learning more about that or joining. I think that's it.
That is. Are you ready to cheers?
Let's cheers.
To PCOS Body Liberation.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.